Hey everyone, this is Randy from BibleBuyingGuide.com, taking a look today at the Zondervan NIV Preacher's Bible in the Premier Collection. Now this is unique among NIVs in that it is verse by verse. It's the only one that I'm aware of in verse by verse. So it is goatskin with a leather liner, and then has a nice grain to it, really floppy, extra floppy. You can do anything you want to with that. Perimeter stitched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spine ribs with printing in silver, and then blue under silver art gilt, and then a silver decorative line inside, and then edge line tab. Like I said, real leather liner. Feels elegant. I like the feel of it. Really soft. And then Smythe sewn with overcast stitching. You'll see the overcast stitch line right there, all the way down through there, and it's in the front and in the back. You can usually tell because the signatures stand out just a little bit. They separate from the others just a touch. That's normal. Just like this is normal. Having these sheets glued together is normal. Now this edge line tab is a little bit stiff, so it does take some time to get that to lay down. Presentation page is the only thick end sheet, and then we go into our 36 Gsm European paper. This is made in China, and the paper, this is the same paper they use in the other Premier collection. I like this paper a lot. It's easy to grab and separate, very opaque. You do have some show through, but it's not distracting to me. To me, this is acceptable amount of show through. And then the font itself is a 9.5 point font designed by 2K Denmark. This is really dark. It looks a little smaller to me than 9.5. To my eye, it looks closer to maybe an 8.5. Looks a little small. It also looks a little bit crowded. And then at the bottom of the page, almost every page, we have extra space. Sometimes an inch, sometimes 2 inches. And then we have our footnotes down here in the very bottom. All the highlights are in blue. One unique thing about this design is the verses are left justified. The verse numbers are set out to the side so that they stand out. And that's basically every verse. They all stand out. And then it does have a poetic setting, stanzas for the poetry. No other setting adjustments as far as letters and things like that. Old Testament quotes and the New Testament, they don't stand out or anything like that. So that's basically our text right there. Being verse by verse, it is easier to find the numbers, find the verses when you're preaching. To me, it's a little bit small for preaching. I kind of think I want a little bit bigger. But as long as you don't need a large print or don't need a giant print, you should be fine. The reason for this is because they're trying to match page by page to the Pew Bible, the Pew and Worship Bible. And they do match page by page. Page 324, page 324. This one is in paragraph and still matches page by page to the Preaching Bible. So the first word and the last word are the same. And because of that, we do end up with a little bit of extra space on certain lines. And then this one is about close to the same size font. Maybe this one's a little bit smaller. Not a lot smaller, but a little bit smaller. And then blue highlights all through, black letter text. And then in the back, we have a table of weights and measures. And that's the only other feature that it's got. So let's go ahead and weigh and measure. He is 1 pound, 15.3 ounces. And let's see, our overall size is 6 and almost 3/4. Just touch over, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. About 6 and 5/8 by 9 and 7/8 by 1 inch. So that's a good size, thin line. Really good size. I like those ribbons too. 3 different colors, 3 different shades of blue. Another Bible I want to compare to is the thin line, NIV thin line large print. And they are just about the same size. Almost identical. This is the first edition, which didn't have the spine ribs. Same paper, a little bit larger font, This one is called an 11.5. This one's 11.4 versus the 9.5. I actually find this one a little bit easier to read because of the larger print. If you don't need a larger print, this is great for preaching. But if you do need a little bit larger print, this is fine. Unless you need verse by verse. I don't actually need verse by verse for preaching. I'm fine with a paragraph as long as the verse numbers are large enough to see. That's the thing. They've got to be large enough to see. So let's compare these two. And let's put them on the opposite side. So we have the preaching Bible on the right. We have the large print thin line on the left. And there's how they compare. I like both Bibles. You can't go wrong with either one. Unless you need a larger print. That's the only thing. I'll place some links in the notes where you can make a purchase or see the written review at BibleBuyingGuide.com where I go into more detail. And Zondervan did supply this in exchange for an honest review. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.